What if I told you that for under 250 grand, you could own a sailboat capable of crossing oceans? In a world full of floating condos and flashy catamarans, it's easy to forget the charm and capability of a good old-fashioned monohull. These single-hulled sailboats have been the backbone of cruising for generations. They're simpler, more connected to the water, and often more seaworthy when the going gets rough. Today, we're looking at 5 of the best monohull sailing yachts you can buy in 2025 for under $250,000. These boats aren't just affordable, they're trusted, proven, and ready for adventure. The Beneteau Oceanis 38 is one of those boats that just feels right the moment you step aboard. It's modern, spacious, and easy to handle, making it a top choice for anyone looking to cruise comfortably without needing a massive yacht or crew. For sailors who want style and function in equal measure, this one's a solid bet. What stands out immediately is the layout. The Oceanis 38 has a wide beam that carries aft, which gives it a ton of interior space and makes it feel more like a small apartment than a traditional sailboat. That extra room isn't just for show. It's great for living aboard, hosting friends, or spreading out when you're off the grid. You'll find an airy saloon, a decent galley, and multiple layout options depending on whether you're sailing solo or with a crew. 2 or 3 cabins, 1 or 2 heads, it's customizable, and that's part of the charm. On deck, it's built for simplicity. Twin wheels at the helm, a wide swim platform, and easy access to all your lines make short-handed sailing a breeze. It's not a racer, but with a decent sail plan and a balanced hull, the Oceanis 38 can hold her own under sail. Light winds, coastal breezes, or a stiff offshore passage, she handles them all with a calm, forgiving nature that inspires confidence, especially for newer cruisers. Under the hood, you're looking at a Yanmar diesel, usually around 29 to 40 horsepower depending on the model, which gives plenty of push when the wind dies. The systems are straightforward, the wiring is accessible, and there's enough tankage to get you through longer hops without stressing over fuel or water every other day. You can find these boats from around 2014 onward in solid condition, well under that 250 grand mark. And because it's a popular model, there's no shortage of support, upgrades, or spare parts out there. You'll see a lot of them in the Med, the Caribbean, and up and down both U.S. coasts because they work, they're comfortable, and they don't require a fortune to keep running. If you're looking for a boat that's easy to live with and easy to love, one that's just as happy on a long weekend as it is on a 6-month cruise, the Beneteau Oceanis 38 might just be your ticket to freedom. It's modern cruising without the complications. If the Beneteau Oceanis 38 is like a well-designed loft, then the Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 389 is a smart little cruiser that packs in a lot more than you'd expect. It's sleek, capable, and nimble, perfect for folks who want a boat that sails as good as it looks. The Sun Odyssey series is known for combining comfort with performance, and the 389 hits that sweet spot nicely. At just under 39 feet, it's the kind of boat you can manage alone but still feels like a proper yacht. Step below and you'll see what I mean. It's warm, inviting, and thoughtfully laid out. Big windows, rich woodwork, and just enough modern flair to make it feel current without losing that classic charm. You'll typically find them in 2 or 3 cabin versions, with a surprisingly spacious galley and a roomy saloon. On the water, this boat shines. The hull design is fast and responsive, and thanks to a big mainsail and a generous headsail, it can really move in light air. Add a decent breeze and the 389 comes alive. I've sailed one of these off the coast of Portugal, and I'll tell you, she handled swell and gusts with ease. Tracking was steady, and she felt locked in the whole time. Jeanneau put real thought into deck ergonomics too. All the sail controls lead back to the cockpit, and the twin wheels give you plenty of space to move around. Or just lounge when the sails are trimmed and the autopilot's doing the work. The cockpit lockers are deep, the swim platform is solid, and there's a practical dodger setup if you want protection without blocking your view. These boats usually come with a Yanmar 30-horsepower engine, which is more than enough for harbor work or motoring on a calm day. Systems are modern, plumbing and electrical are cleanly laid out, and everything is built to be used, not just admired at the dock. Used prices sit comfortably between $180,000 and $200,000 depending on the year and condition. And with Jeanneau's broad dealer network, parts and upgrades are easy to source. Whether you're planning to coastal cruise, hop through the islands, or even prep for a longer trip down the ICEDA or beyond, this boat is a capable and comfortable platform. In short, the Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 389 is for the sailor who wants performance without fuss, style without excess, and a boat that feels just right under both sail and sun. The Catalina 355 is like that solid, trustworthy friend who also knows how to have a good time. I first crossed paths with her down in the Chesapeake, helping a buddy move his boat south south for the winter. Right from the get-go, she impressed me with her balance. Under sail, the helm was buttery smooth. No wrestling, no fuss. We had steady 12 to 15 knot winds, and she held her course like she was on rails. What I really admire about the Catalina 355 is how well she's laid out for shorthanded or even solo sailing. All the control lines come right back to the cockpit, and with the optional electric winch for the main halyard, you can raise sail while sipping your coffee. The main sheet is on a traveler forward of the companionway, which keeps it out of the cockpit and makes things feel a lot safer and cleaner. She's not just about convenience, though. This boat can move. Broad, reaching with the headsail rolled out, she felt lively and responsive, giving a good 6.5 knots with very little effort. Down below, she feels way bigger than 35 feet. The beam carries well aft, giving you a spacious saloon and a generous aft cabin. There's headroom for days, and the natural light through the overhead hatches and side ports gives it a warm, airy vibe. The galley is L-shaped, compact but complete, and there's a proper nav station that you don't always see in boats this size. For under 250 grand in the current market, especially if you're looking at gently used models from the past 5 to 10 years, the Catalina 355 offers a ton of value. She's not flashy, but she's honest. A true sailor's boat that doesn't ask too much but delivers a lot in return. If I were outfitting her for longer passages, I'd probably add solar panels, a better dodger, and a wind vane. But straight out of the yard or from a careful previous owner, she's pretty much ready to sail wherever you want to go. Sailing the Hallberg Rassy 34 is like slipping into a classic tailored jacket. Everything just fits, everything works, and you feel better for having put it on. This boat has an understated elegance that doesn't scream for attention, but once you're aboard, it's clear you're in the company of a serious passage maker. I got the chance to cruise one along the west coast of Scotland, and those wild, changeable conditions really showed me what she was made of. Her hull shape and moderate displacement give her a motion that's steady and predictable. She cuts through chop without any of that banging or slamming that can wear you out. I remember one particular stretch crossing the Minch where we had 20 knots on the nose and a nasty short swell, but the Hallberg Rassy 34 just kept her shoulders down and soldiered on. You can reef her down and still maintain respectable speed and control, which is exactly what you want when the weather gets moody. The cockpit is deep and well protected, with a fixed windscreen that makes a huge difference when the spray starts flying. Everything's laid out for serious sailing, and you get the sense that every detail has been refined over years of experience. The tiller's steering surprised me at first. These days you see so many wheels, but it's perfectly balanced and gives a direct, satisfying feel of the boat. Below deck, it's warm teak everywhere and thoughtful touches that make life at sea just a little more civilized. There's a solid nav station, a proper sea berth, and enough storage to keep things tidy on a long cruise. The galley is snug but functional, and the head has more room than you'd expect on a boat this size. Now, she's not the fastest on the list, but she's the one I'd choose if I were headed somewhere remote, somewhere that demands a boat with soul and strength. You can still find good examples of the Hallberg Rassy 34 for under $250,000 if you're willing to look, and they tend to hold their value like gold. This is a sailor's boat, built for the long haul and always ready for one more adventure. The Pacific Seacraft 34 is one of those boats that just feels right the moment you step aboard. There's a quiet confidence in her lines, a sense of purpose that whispers, "Take me anywhere." I first sailed one on a delivery from Charleston to the Bahamas, and by the time we reached the Exumas, I was completely smitten. She's a full-keel cruiser with a cutaway forefoot, which gives her a bit more agility than you might expect. Underway, she tracks beautifully and feels steady even when the sea gets messy. We had some heavy weather on that crossing, steady 25 knots with a building swell, and she handled it with the kind of calm that puts a sailor at ease. There's no slamming or pounding. She rides the waves with a gentle, almost soothing motion. What I really appreciated was how secure everything felt. The cockpit is small but deep, with high coamings that make you feel tucked in and safe, especially on night watches. She's got proper handholds everywhere, and there's a real sense of integrity to the way she's put together. Every fitting is solid, every line is where it should be, and the deck is easy to move around on, even when the boat's bouncing. Below deck, the Pacific Seacraft 34 is cozy in the best way. Rich teak joinery, well-fitted cabinetry, and a layout that's clearly built for serious voyaging. There's a roomy V-berth forward, a proper nav station, and a saloon that's snug but perfectly functional. The galley is seaworthy, U-shaped with plenty of bracing points, and the icebox is deep enough to keep provisions cold for a good stretch. What makes this boat shine is her character. She's not about speed or flash. She's about capability and seaworthiness. She's the kind of boat that'll carry you across oceans without fuss, and she's forgiving enough to look after you when the going gets rough. For under $250,000, you can find some very well-kept examples, often already kitted out with wind vanes, solar panels, and upgraded gear from owners who've loved and lived aboard. If you dream of slipping the lines and just going, no schedule, no rush, just open water and quiet anchorages, the Pacific Seacraft 34 is the kind of boat you want under your feet. She's not just a vessel, she's a companion. Well, folks, there you have it. 3 rock-solid monohulls that prove you don't need to sell the farm to chase the horizon. The Catalina 355 gives you modern comfort and easy handling, perfect for weekend warriors or coastal cruisers looking to stretch their legs. The Hallberg Rassy 34, that one's for the dreamers with grit, ready to chase down high latitudes and lean into a life offshore. And the Pacific Seacraft 34, she's your quiet, steadfast partner when you want to leave the noise behind and find peace under sail. Each of these boats has its own personality, its own rhythm, but what they all share is heart. They're the kind of yachts that invite you aboard not just for a sail, but for a journey. And at under $250,000, they're accessible enough that the dream doesn't have to stay a dream forever. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If one of these beauties caught your eye, or if you've got your own tales from the helm, drop me a comment. I always love swapping stories. Until next time, keep a hand on the tiller, an eye on the horizon, and don't forget to enjoy the ride. Fair winds, my friends.